Well, that was bad. Okay. Well, this is the Ram Chowder podcast. I was a little under the weather last week. I guess my vocal cords have not caught up. How you doing, Lex?
Good, good. Busy, busy. A lot of busyness over these last 2 weeks or so. Um, but a lot of good stuff, a lot of working towards job type of things and all that good stuff. And there was a good week span of time where we were wondering, like, man, like we could probably take 2 weeks off just because of how um few and far between the Rams news was. And then around about a week ago, there was a bunch of news. But then, as Brian mentioned, the cold happened. I got like really caught up in some work preparation type of things, but also like internet changes, and so it's been a doozy. It's been a doozy.
Yeah, so if you notice any technical difficulties while we're recording, honestly, my I don't feel like my internet's the best, so it could be me too. So, but we'll work through it.
Mhm.
Um, as of right now, though, it is April 7th, almost midnight. By the time you guys listen to this, will be April 8th.
Mhm.
And there's still no news on the Rams uniforms that are supposed to be coming out this month.
Wow.
We are 16 days away from the NFL draft. The Rams
Mhm.
technically still don't have an NFL draft hat. I am hoping that we will spend the next couple minutes on this,
Mhm.
knowing that at like 9 a.m. tomorrow, the Rams drop these new uniforms and this
Yeah.
podcast is out of date. I will sacrifice this podcast being out of
Yeah.
date for new Rams uniforms.
You're almost hoping that this becomes out of date. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
I
It
hear you.
There's been some people that have been like, we could celebrate the Rams winning the championship when they wear those yellow jerseys with the blue stripes on the sleeve. Sure, sign me up.
Mhm.
I feel like the fan base is a little, I'm not gonna say divided, but
Mhm.
there's some expectation that the Rams are gonna kind of revert back to their old school look.
Yeah.
And then there's this, I think, faction of the fan base. This is just, this is anecdotal.
Yeah.
I've been, this is just like looking on Twitter and Instagram
Yeah.
and stuff that are basically like taking elements from the old school, but really kind of sticking to this new style of the Rams look. I'm
Mhm.
looking at a lot of Photoshop ideas that people have, and they're using like the newish look of the Rams, but maybe taking out the gradient or, adding different elements. But
Mhm.
really, it's either they're going to go completely back to their old school look or they're going to have like a variation of this new look. I don't know how I'll feel about either one at this point. But I need this to happen. The Falcons just dropped new uniforms. The Titans already dropped
Yeah.
new uniforms. It's time for the Rams to drop these new uniforms. That's
Yeah.
my rant to get this started. I don't know if you have any thoughts, Lex, before we continue, but
No, I think you are validated in your feelings because I remember at the end of the last episode, and again, maybe we're running off of 2 weeks of time, right? And we kind of have some grace periods over the off season, especially when there's not too much Ram specific news, right? But yeah, like I remember last episode, you were mentioning almost that feeling of like, hey, could be any second now, right? Last episode, and so I think it's like you said, right? We're only what is it, like weeks away or months away from the season, um, and yeah, still no jerseys. I have a jersey question that I've been kind of keeping in mind and had in mind, and I think you brought up a good point with there's almost like half the Rams fan base out there expecting to see just the old school jerseys again, right? Or um uh almost like wanting to see it or thinking that that's what's going to happen, right? And so like a kind of a two-parter. What do you think like the general Rams nation public fans um like when the Rams reveal the jerseys, right? And I think Vegas money probably says we're probably not going to go back to the original colors that they want, right? Um, what do you think the general Rams consensus is when they see that it's not going to be the old jerseys? But also, what does Brian think? As soon as you see the new jerseys and they're not like the old ones, what do you think happens in both of those scenarios?
I have a feeling though they might use elements of the old jerseys though. I
Mm.
I think it's going to be a combination of this new look, these new colors, like this new shade of blue, this royal, and then this soul yellow. I think
Hmm.
they'll still use these colors. I this is just my personal like
Yeah,
thought process. Not saying it's going to happen. And to be honest,
like a guess. Yeah.
maybe I'd like to be proven wrong. Uh, uh, I think they're going to use these colors that we've seen the last, was it like almost 6 years now, 5 years
Mhm.
now or so. Um, might be even seven. I feel it's going to be these colors. Sorry,
Mhm.
I lost my thought. Yeah, but they're going to incorporate like how the Rams used to have like a horn on their sleeve. I think
Mhm.
they're going to
Yeah.
do some of that stuff. I think it's going to look somewhat like old school in terms of not a lot of um white lettering necessarily. I think it's going to be just block color, like blue on yellow, not like
Mhm.
any white anywhere around the numbers, gradient or outlining it. So I think they're going to try to do a combination, and I think they're going to do this like idea of like celebrating the Rams' history, but still being fresh and new.
Yeah.
Um, but it's interesting because I do think franchises go through this phase of you see, and I think you kind of saw it with the Falcons' new uniform. But I don't know if you've seen them. Is like they'll go through a phase of like they're trying to be really new, a few like the last couple generations of the Falcons uniforms, they're like, oh, we're trying to be really new, and then this variation of the Falcons uniform looks very like they're trying to kind of go back to their original look way back in the
Yeah.
day of being more simple, just a little bit more straightforward. And I feel
Hmm.
like the Rams might do the same. Keep maybe the horn with the little fade line in it or something, and
Hmm.
then but like just kind of like keep the modern slick look that they think they like,
Hmm.
and then but use some of these retro ideas. And I think honestly, if they lose the gradient look, kind of if it's modern looking but it's got like a retro aesthetic to it, I
Hmm.
think I'll be okay with it. I think I'll be content with it. Um, if they want, I kind of want to, and I know it might look ugly, but I'm okay embracing ugly if it's at least refreshing.
Yeah.
Is an alternate yellow jersey. Like
That'd be cool.
put it with blue pants, put it with white pants. I'm not a big fan of going maybe yellow on yellow pants,
Hmm.
but if they did like a yellow jersey with white pants or something, I
Yeah.
would be on board for it.
That'd be sick. Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll see. 'Cause I have a feeling they're gonna use like the black midnight jersey as their like, look, we do have an alternate jersey, and they wear it once a year. Like it's
Yeah.
so. What about you?
Yeah. I think, uh, I would be maybe I was kind of subconsciously categorizing myself as like the general Rams public because I would be happy with kind of like the Todd Gurley LA Rams jerseys, which kind of were more reminiscent of like the old school Rams that even you're more familiar with, like way back in the day when they were originally in LA, right? With the what was it Kurt Warner Rams, right? Like, had
Yeah,
like the same as like the Coliseum, like Todd Gurley Rams in LA, and um and so I kind of do categorize myself in like I would definitely be happy if at the very least there were elements that kind of took us back to that. Um, you know, I don't think they'll do this next idea, but as kind of the hipster side of me would be kind of wilding out if they went St. Louis Rams colors, right? Or closer to those. And I feel like it just feels like, oh, such low odds that they would think about that. But um, I don't know, something kind of sparked an idea when you were mentioning the Falcons journey of how far they were trying to get away from original Falcons colors. And then 5 days ago, the new Falcons jerseys dropped, and then they look just like the Matt Ryan Falcons and the Julio Jones Falcons, right, and things like that. And so, yeah, it's like possibility or possibilities are endless. I think my official, if I had to put money on it, my official guess uh, is that there's probably going to be slight, just slight pattern changes. I think they might want to stay with like the brightest yellow that they already have, like the kind of lighter blue or the brighter blue that they already have. But I don't know why I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more white in the mix and a lot more black in the mix as far as their home versus away jerseys.
That's
And
a that's a solid take. Not that I
mhm.
love it. That's a solid
Yeah, yeah,
take
yeah,
though.
right,
That's a
right.
I could totally see the Rams trying to embrace more of this like midnight black
Hmm.
jersey thing, but kind of use that jersey and then use the color of that jersey and use it like as an outline for like other numbers or something like that in
Or
the
like,
other
yeah,
jersey. Yeah.
absolutely,
That's a really
absolutely.
good shout. I don't like it, but I'm letting you know.
Yeah, 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 right, yeah, 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 yeah. Like, imagine,
Because
but
I think the Rams have always had like a history of, for example, I'm trying to make sure I'm accurate when I say this. The Rams using the color white
mhm,
was really like, because the NFL had a very strict your away jersey had to be white rule. So, but that was really the only white you saw.
yeah,
They had the yellow pants for years. It was just yellow pants with the
yeah,
blue jersey with the block yellow. And I'm using yellow because like if I start saying gold, it might get confusing because the Rams use like a more metallic sand gold, and then there's the yellow
yeah,
gold. So I'm using the yellow just to kind of be more direct. I know it's gold.
yeah.
But, and then when they went to the sand gold Rams, they
Hmm.
did present white pants eventually, but for the most part, it was metallic gold pants with the blue jersey, metallic gold pants with the white jersey, and then they start getting a little creative with like white pants with blue pants and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um, I had a cough. I don't know if I played that
Yeah.
off. I don't think I played it off well at
Yeah.
all. uh,
Uh,
And then when they went to LA, they were basically like, let's take every idea that's ever happened in Rams history and
yes.
let's just try it. Like for
Yes.
and I think that's kind of what happened. Like we got a variation of the white LA Rams look, the blue LA Rams look. We had the metallic jerseys, we had the white horns, we had like the all white look with the
Hmm.
random like gold sleeve. It was just like it was kind of like a chaos kind of
Hmm.
thing. It was fun. It was interesting. They would wear different variations of every jersey.
Yeah.
Um, if the Rams really wanted to sell a bunch of jerseys, and
Mhm.
they really were like, this is like they. I remember when the Rams first released the new logo and uniforms, the Rams even responded saying, "We get you might not like it, but
Yep.
like kind of give it a chance, kind of thing. But we
Yeah.
get you don't like it. Please tell us how much you don't like it." Try to cough again, didn't play it off. I don't even think I muted it in time.
Very good.
But the I have a feeling they heard that feedback. Now, people kind of got used to the Rams. When you win a Super Bowl with in these uniforms, you're still gonna buy an Aaron Donald jersey, you're gonna buy a Matthew
Yeah.
Stafford jersey. They have found ways to like they kind of created the white jersey that looks a little old school, but still with the new colors.
Hmm.
And then they had the midnight jerseys now. I feel like they've kind of understood, but they were hoping that people would embrace it, and I think people somewhat have.
Hmm.
But if they really wanted to sell a bunch of jerseys, just go
Hmm.
back to the old school look. Like
Yes.
just 100%, just do it. You'll sell a bunch of
Yeah.
jerseys in the first night. Like
Absolutely.
everyone would be on board.
Hmm.
Whoever liked the new look, whoever liked it would still like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but people who really like the old look are gonna buy the jerseys, and people who like new look are gonna buy the old jerseys. So,
Yeah.
and if they were asking me, which they haven't, Just go back to the old school blue, old school white, yellow pants. If you want to keep the midnight jerseys kind of hanging there, just you wear them once a year, who cares?
Hmm. Yeah.
And then have the alternate yellow jersey with the blue stripe sleeve. And even if you wear it just for this year, and then you have a different alternate jersey the year after. That's what I would do. We spent a
You
lot
do
more
have
time
to.
on this. This would be, we spent a lot more time on this than I thought we would. But
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say if you want to transition into a new segment titled "Are you a little bummed?" and my next question here, are you a little bummed that Kirk Cousins will not be wearing the new Rams uniforms that are pending to be released?
a little bit. I'm kind of a no. I don't want Jimmy G back, and it's fine. But it's I thought Kirk Cousins added that capability of like if Stafford needed to take a week off because he jammed his thumb or something, or
Mm.
Kirk Cousins had to come in the middle of the NFC championship, he could.
Yeah,
And then we're talking in the story. He's like, can Kirk Cousins lead the Rams to the Super Bowl because Matthew Stafford won't be back? Stuff like that. Jimmy
yeah.
G's not doing any of that shit. Sorry. So I don't know if they're going to
Yeah.
draft a quarterback. I remember Sean McVay was kind of asked about the Alabama quarterback, and he was just kind of like, you know more than I do, which means like they're not interested.
That's fine.
They're like,
Yeah,
do you want Ty Simpson? He's like, I don't know. Like, you guys know more than I do about him. And I'm like, okay,
yeah.
this guy's not on the board unless he's just saying that. Maybe I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
It's just to kind of like throw off the scent that maybe they are interested.
Yeah, keeping it close to the chest.
But I would be really annoyed if they use the 13th pick on Ty Simpson. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Especially like kind of we'll transition to it in a little bit, but like Sean McVay also mentioned that Stafford's kind of like year to year. He thinks he
Hmm.
could play maybe into his 40s if he wanted to, but
Hmm.
I don't know. How do you feel about Kirk Cousins signing with the Raiders and not basically being the bridge to Fernando Mendoza over there and not coming to the Rams? He's getting a lot
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
He's getting a lot more money from the Raiders than he would have got from the Rams too. So let's just say
Yes.
about that too.
Definitely, definitely. I'm sure, I mean, we're all humans, trying to do the best for ourselves and our families, and so I'm sure that definitely played a role into his decision. But yeah, I was one of those people who were a little afraid of the Kirk Cousins possibility, just the Achilles thing and like the age and all that stuff, how he fared in Atlanta. But I mean, he, now that you put it that way, and I remember you were kind of mentioning similar arguments last time in our last episode. If it was between Kirk Cousins or Jimmy G, um, I know you favored Cousins. Now that Kirk Cousins signed with the Raiders, uh, do you feel like this is basically just a pipeline that leads straight to Jimmy G, or do you think drafting a quarterback or signing another backup quarterback is a possibility?
No, I think this is basically Jimmy G's job to lose. He just needs
Yeah,
to sign if he wants to sign.
yeah.
They could draft a quarterback, but I don't think the Rams trust to have like a rookie quarterback backup Stafford, especially in the quote unquote window.
Yeah.
They're gonna want a free agent quarterback, but they're just not gonna bring in any free agent quarterback.
Hmm.
So uh, I don't. How would you feel at Jimmy G? You just can't. Like to me, it's uninspiring. I get it.
Mm.
It's fine. It's been we've been doing this for the last couple of years anyway. So
Hmm.
it's like it's not like it's gonna make me like get on this pod and be like the Rams suck. This is why they don't win. I'm not gonna do
Uh-huh.
that. But
Yeah.
it's just uninspiring. I feel like if this really is a window, they would get a little creative. And you look at a quarterback that might not be plan 1B, but like is this legit someone you trust the that's or at least exciting enough that gives you some hope if something were to happen to Stafford in the playoffs.
Hmm. Yeah, I think you nailed it with the word like uninspiring. That's kind of the feeling of like, okay, if we re-sign Jimmy G, it is kind of like a safe, uninspiring pick, um, but it's one of those things where it does feel safe as a Rams fan. It's gonna feel familiar seeing him warm up, or just being on the sidelines because we're used to it over the last couple of years. I think my only fear with Jimmy G is that we haven't um, needed to use him in important situations or a long stretch of time from my understanding, right? Over the last couple of years. And so I would fear if, what would happen if we're down to the wire in a playoff push at the end of the season and Matt Stafford is out for the last two games of the season and he's scheduled to be back in the playoffs, but only if Jimmy G can win like, one or two games.
Right.
I'm not sure if I'd be comfortable uh you know, with him or relying on him to win one out of two games, even let alone two out of two. And so I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to like think who else is out there.
So
Um,
I'm looking at a couple
mhm,
and honestly, without, I'm sure there's an easier way for me to do this, but I'm trying to do it on the fly.
yeah.
But a couple quarterbacks have come up. Jimmy G was one of them.
Hmm.
Russell Wilson
Mm. Hmm.
and Aaron Rodgers came up as like the top two
Yeah.
quarterbacks. I'm not saying the Rams had to get a top free agent quarterback,
Yep.
but the one that I'm kind of interested in, and it's funny because this might contradict my whole like, well, can this player lead him to the Super Bowl? Because
Yep.
this player probably can't.
Hmm.
But I would be a lot. I would be. I think the Rams should take a swing on Anthony Richardson from the Colts.
Mm. Hmm.
Call the Colts up and say like, hey, like, what do you want? You're obviously not going to use him moving forward.
Hmm.
We'll give you a middle pick in the draft just because of Anthony Richardson still has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
And then you put him in, changes the whole Rams offense, by the way. But he's young, he's extremely athletic. He's kind of like he might make some things happen.
Hmm.
Or he'll throw four picks, the Rams offense doesn't get moving, everyone's frustrated, right?
Yeah.
But that's someone who I'd be a little bit more interested in. Out of the players I just listed, though, Russell Wilson, maybe he's got Super Bowl pedigree, I guess. So is Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers looks like he could still play, whereas Russell Wilson still looks like he wants to play,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. So,
Yes. Yes.
Ru- and then I do kind of like, you know me, I hate myself some Russell Wilson,
Yeah. Yeah.
but having that, there is a little bit of that symmetry between like when like players play for a specific team for their career and then they come and sign with the rival at the end
Yeah.
of it. It's the Garrett Anderson signing with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
It's like stuff like that. It's Lamar Odom going from the Clippers to the Lakers, back to the Clippers stuff.
Yeah.
This is this Russell Wilson would be interesting, and then there would be, and then maybe I would forgive Russell Wilson for all the bullshit of the
Yeah.
last decade of watching him just do the dumbest things against a Rams team that was just trying their best. The Jeff
Yeah.
Fisher Rams were just trying their best,
Yes. Yes.
and having him come over here where he kind of sucks, but like maybe he could just maybe he just start. I trust Russell Wilson to start a game or two for the Rams.
Mhm.
A regular season game, I could trust Russell Wilson for a game or two. Now, if Stafford went down in the NFC Championship and Russell Wilson was named the starting quarterback for the
Oof.
Rams going into the Super Bowl, I wouldn't love that. But the story would be interesting.
Yes, yes.
The story would be interesting. And I think the story would be fun too if like we're playing the Seahawks again in the NFC Championship and Russell
Yeah.
Wilson just needs to go down and do one drive against his former team
Yeah.
and he pulls it off for the Rams.
Yeah. All he
Yeah.
has to do is just hand it off to the running back at the 1 yard line.
That's all he has to do. He
Yeah.
doesn't really have the skill set anymore to drop back
Yeah.
15 yards, turn his back to the field, and then do a little spin, and then
A
throw.
fade away.
And then he doesn't really have that skill set anymore. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
Serious.
But yeah, how do you feel about Sean McVay saying, "Hey, Davante Adams, we were legit trying to trade you this season, this offseason?"
Yeah, that was it's funny because we were you and I in the last episode or two were sort of playing with the idea of, oh, what if we were to trade Davante Adams for an AJ Brown, right? Or like when those rumors were swirling, right? And so yeah, it's pretty wild because I don't know. I feel like really in any sport, whether it's NFL, baseball, NBA, these trade rumors, when they have already decided not to trade the player, but trade rumors coming out after the fact that we didn't decide to trade him, I feel like that's pretty rare. I feel like those types of rumors don't really get out much. Um, and yeah, I'm actually shocked that yeah McVay let it be known. And so I do find it interesting. We had talked about this off the podcast too via text briefly. You had mentioned um, so they've decided to keep him, but what could that mean by the trade deadline now? Do you think we're more likely to trade Davante Adams now mid-season now that the rumors have leaked?
I would say if the Rams begin to struggle, they would try to get rid of his contract
Mhm.
and see if they could maybe bring in something to turn the ship around a little bit. I still think there's a chance they trade him before training camp.
Oh, dang, yeah, yeah.
And sometimes these trades happen during the NFL draft. Sometimes they happen after June 1st.
Hmm.
Um, it seems like Davante Adams wants to be here, but they were honest with him. And I'll be honest too, like there's this new wave of sports because I think like we've been trained on the idea that there's always like coach speak or franchise organizational speak of being like, no, no, we love this guy, and then
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you also don't want to bring down the trade value, and the Rams are
Yeah.
not shitting on Davante Adams.
No.
They kind of like made it known, like, yeah, we let him know that we're looking at some offers, and due to your contract situation, it's something that we had to entertain and stuff like that. But we feel
Hmm.
like the team's better with you, kind of thing. So
Hmm.
I think that's more that's kind of the coach speak aspect of it. It's
Yep.
like, oh, I think we're better with you than without you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the contract situation is a real thing,
Yeah.
and he's 34, and you don't want to be holding on to someone that just father time could
Oh,
father
yeah.
time's catching up to me.
Yeah, yeah. Cough break.
Whereas like father time catches up to him randomly next year,
Yeah.
and he just can't do it.
Yeah.
You don't want to be in that situation. So
I hear you.
how do you feel?
Yeah, I'm a fan of Davante Adams. Um, it we are getting closer and closer though, to um a time where maybe his body might not let him survive a lot of starts or a lot of back-to-back weeks, right? And things like that. Um, it's who knows, maybe it could have just been kind of just like an off season for him as far as like injuries or and even just like little things. When I say injuries, I'm almost just thinking of when he makes like a nice play off to the sideline and then he has to limp off for the rest of the game, right? Like that kind of happened like quite a like or if not the rest of the game for like a period of the game. I feel like that happened more often than not this past season. And so it could be one of those things where I think like the Rams had the wherewithal with Cooper Cup to be like, hey, let's part ways sooner than later.
And then he won a Super Bowl and
Um,
he looked great.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And then it bit us right back at us, right? And but I don't know, it's the age is a big thing for me, right? 34. And it's one of those things is like, do we deal them now and get what we can, the best out of possible deal that we can, all things considered, or do we hold on to him and let's say he catches a hamstring injury week 1 and then he's out until week 7 and then just is never the same again, right? It's yeah, I think I would not oppose shipping Adams, um, but yeah, it would be hard. I like him.
I'm open to him staying if we have like a plan for what you just said. Like
Yeah.
week one injury, he's out for 6 weeks. All right, so who's next up? And it's like is
Mhm.
it Xavier Smith, like or I think it's if the I think that the Rams have an opportunity where I feel like they made their team relatively solid,
Mhm.
decent to solid to really good in most aspects of their roster. This spot right here is probably where if Sean McVay as the head coach too could make the most of this position too. So like
Mhm.
you bring in a little bit of talent and then you do the and then you can see what Sean McVay could do with that.
Mhm.
So I would say bring in Mekhi Lemon from USC. Sadiq Bey's been also I don't know if you've heard of Sadiq Bey, Lex, but he was a tight end in Oregon.
Gotcha.
So this is where my take is at a little bit. We kind of assured that like we signed Higby back. We have Parkinson. We have Ferguson. Ferguson was also I believe a front an Oregon Duck.
Mhm.
I am in the camp of like we kind of have our tight end position solidified.
Mhm.
And I want to bring in the first round pick to contribute right away. Now people are like he's more of a gadget tight end. Like he could kind of line up in the slot. He could play a little bit of receiver.
Mhm.
Like I guess you could say like a Travis Kelsey type.
Yeah.
I'm not making that comparison. I don't think
Yeah. Yeah.
they're the same. But
Gotcha. Just like similar like usage of
like
yeah.
put him anywhere on the field and just use his talent kind of thing.
Gotcha.
And I'm like that's fine, but he's still a tight end in a tight end full room. I know some
Yeah.
people might disagree with that, but that's just how I feel. Like
Gotcha.
you could bring in a gadget running back, but if you're bringing in a gadget running back in a running back room that has Kyron Williams and Corum, and then you bring in a gadget running back. That's cool that we have a gadget running back there,
Yeah.
but you're using him only to be a gadget running back. Whereas like you bring in a Mekhi Lemon, he's gonna
Mhm.
play at
Yeah.
that slot wide receiver position pretty much from day one.
Yeah.
Also, there's some talented. I don't know. I don't know if these are even options, but there's
Mhm.
Brandon Ayuk. 49ers want to trade him. Now, are they going to trade within a division? Maybe not. Maybe there's something about Brandon Ayuk that they're like, nah, this guy's not going to work for the Rams, and then they trade him to the Rams, and then we have to deal with the situation after the fact.
Yeah.
Debo Samuel, I believe, is still available. Now, he's also kind of more of a gadget player himself.
Mhm.
He's not lived up to expectations in multiple seasons. Tyreek Hill is someone that's available. Now, are his best days behind him? Maybe.
Mhm.
But could he be a complement to a Davante Adams, Puka on a decent deal, and then you also have a rookie wide receiver behind him?
Mhm.
So these are things that I think the Rams still have options out there that don't require having to trade Davante Adams.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I think they need to shore up the position if they're going to keep him. Now that doesn't mean you trade Davante Adams for AJ Brown and AJ Brown comes in here and tweaks his hamstring. He's out for six
Yeah.
weeks. The
Yeah.
same thing could happen to him too. But
Exactly.
I think we're just kind of like, well, but there's the ceiling, there's the potential. If Davante Adams tweaks his hamstring this year, and it costs the Rams go 3-4, and then Stafford at the end of the season is like, all right, I'll come back for one more season. If you have a younger wide receiver there, you're a little bit more optimistic. Davante
Yeah.
Adams is probably moving on.
Yeah.
So this is like if there's a way we can make Davante Adams more of a 1 to 3 year plan than a just a this year plan, I think that's
Mhm.
something to consider too.
Yeah.
Speaking
Definitely.
of wide
Definitely.
receivers, I think we should end the episode. We talked about Puka a little bit on the last episode. Um, there's been some developments in that regard, but I think the most
Yeah.
important one is Puka's in rehab.
Mhm.
Sean McVay has mentioned that he wants Puka to be a Ram for a long time. He loves him. But he's also talked to Puka about, being a Ram is not exclusive to just being on the field. It also means you got to represent the Rams off the field.
Yeah.
I think I think Puka has a really good support system with Sean McVay, Les Snead,
Yeah,
and things like that in the Rams organization. It's on Puka to make sure that he's doing his part, which, going to rehab. And I'll be honest with you, I was a little bit shocked by that because I was like, for this incident, compared to some other incidents,
yeah,
I kind of was like, oh, I'm surprised that this incident in particular landed him in rehab.
yeah.
So, or maybe he's in rehab for something else, but I'm pretty sure it's this. So,
Mhm.
do you have any Puka thoughts before we head out?
Yeah, yeah, no, just for our Puka segment this time. Um yeah, I think yeah, I mean at the very least that's on the right track. I think what McVay said was very promising at the very least cuz McVay is supporting his guy. But also kind of stern at the end, right? Like, hey, but also he's kind of like fathering, kind of playing that father role at the end of the statement of kind of like, hey, it's you got to represent on and off the field for an organization, and so yeah, I think it's one of those things where I could say like, yeah, McVay's saying all the right things, Puka's doing all the right actions post all of this news, right? But I could tell McVay really means it, and so I'm hoping Puka also really means it, right? Like with the actions, which as of right now, right, with all the new updates, it's looking promising at the very least, and it's just one of those things where you kind of get scared a little bit, right? Because you think of like again, whether it be other sports like MLB, NBA, or even like UFC, right? There's notorious stars out there who are so talented and always mess up doing the same mess ups and mistakes over and over and over, right? And so you just gotta hope, as a Rams fan and as like someone who hopes the truth prevails, right? You just gotta hope that oh yeah, if all of this is what it is, there's no undercover stuff going on. You just gotta hope that Puka just kind of sticks the landing and kind of sees all of this through, and then maybe this is the last time we talk about it. And you just I guess just being a sports fan, I always think of those other examples. And I'm like, okay, well, hopefully, Puka is not that. And so, I mean, so far so good, and then very promising from what McVay has said. Um, Definitely a good support system for Puka, McVay.
Yeah, it seems like he's doing the right thing. So, I'll say, if the Rams make some moves, bring some new jerseys out there, I think I would be talking about Puka a lot less. So,
Right.
we have the NFL draft approaching. We'll see how that goes and
Mhm.
then how that can complement the team. Do you have any final thoughts before we head out?
No, yeah, no other final thoughts. I think we probably covered most of what we wanted to. And I guess one lasting thought is that yeah, hopefully, I think you got me on board. Now I'm rooting that at the very least the first 10 minutes of this episode becomes outdated by the time it comes out, implying new jerseys. But man, we'll see if we have new jerseys by the next episode. Who knows?
I want to buy the jersey. I want to, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. I kind of was on my anti Stan Kroenke movement a little bit.
Mhm.
Didn't buy really. I did buy the Johnny Hecker jersey, but after that, I didn't
Mhm.
buy any new Rams jersey. There's some jerseys I wanted to buy, but I didn't.
Yeah.
But if the jerseys are clean, I'll buy one. So,
Nice.
and I kind of hope the Rams draft Mekhi Lemon, and that could be my first one. But
There it is.
if they don't, then I'll figure out who on this roster I want to get. Probably won't be Davante Adams. uh, Even though my trick, and I'll tell people this, I infamously will wait till a player leaves the team so I can get the jersey on discount.
Well, I love it.
It doesn't matter because a lot of people, I don't know how you feel about this, Lex.
Yeah.
Does it matter to you if a player gets traded or leaves a team if you have their jersey?
As far as jerseys, right? And so I can answer this in two ways. How I used to be as like a kid and a teenager growing up. I'll give you like kind of like a Dodgers jersey example, and now me in my adult life, two different perspectives. Growing up as a teenager and back in the day when I had to suffer through a lot of early Dodger fandom, um, I think one of my main jersey that I owned was a Cody Bellinger jersey for the longest time. And then after he got traded, it was one of those feelings I remember at the time where I was like, "Oh man." And I think I even gifted it to my niece. Um when the whole family went to a Dodger game once, like she needed an extra jersey. So yeah, just have it, keep it. And but now I would love it. Like I would like destroy for a Sean Green jersey, dude. Number 15. That would be sick, right? And so now when players are off of the team, I totally get the desire and the hype for it. And we also have friend follower friend social media friend of the show, Mr. Brett, who sent me a screenshot of a Rams website purchase that he had made. I want to say just barely 3 weeks ago, and it was a screenshot of a Cooper Cup jersey on the Rams website for I don't know how many 90% off. And I kid you not, it was a $3 jersey at the time, or something around that range, like a $3 jersey. When he sent me the screenshot, I was like, "Oh my goodness,
Why,
yeah, that's legit."
why not? Yeah,
Exactly.
I think it's interesting because you use baseball as an example. I'll use basketball as an example. Every year in the NBA, a team gets a new city edition jersey.
Ooh.
So like every year, a team gets a brand new jersey, and I think most years it sucks, but it's kind of cool to like every year you get. And I think I'm a big idea of having snapshots of seasons and
Mhm.
getting like a city edition jersey is a snapshot of a particular season. So I could be like the 2021, 2022 Clippers wore this jersey, so I have
Mhm.
this jersey of this season. And sometimes so and then you start getting into the idea of like, well, why don't we like get players that when they leave, the jersey's discounted. It's still a snapshot of that season. So
Absolutely.
it's not something I do constantly. Sometimes I do buy jerseys full price because I want to get a specific player that's currently playing for the team. But
Mm.
like, if there was a Rams player that ended up leaving the Rams, like I'm not gonna go out there and go get my uh Kobe Durant jersey for the
Yeah.
Rams. But like I don't know. It would be interesting. So like maybe when these new uniforms come out, I'll probably
Mhm.
get one of a player I like. But then down the road, I'll probably start getting players that are like, maybe retiring or leaving the Rams,
Nice.
and then I'll have those jerseys as a snapshot in those, and I think when you wear those jerseys out in public, it's like, oh, I look at it as like, oh, that person's a fan of that team, and it's not just some guy who bought a jersey. Like
Yeah.
that guy has that jersey from that specific season, kind of thing. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I almost look at it as like, oh, they've been a fan since that era, and it's kind of like it's like
Yeah,
a cool little aspect to see in the wild for sure.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. So,
yeah,
like if someone was like going to a Rams game in a Todd Gurley jersey, or someone goes to a Rams game in their Jared Goff jersey, it's like, oh, I at least know you've probably been a Rams fan since 2016 or so. You
yeah,
know what I mean? And so whatever, so from 2016 to 2026, I at least know that me and you have shared these memories, you know?
absolutely.
So, um, on that note, you want to promote some Pokemon stuff?
There it is. Yeah, Pokemon. If you're a Pokemon fan or if you just want to support, you can find me at Lex the Catcher, on most social medias, Instagram, TikTok, and such. Where can they find you?
Uh, LA Clips Forum. You can either hate listen or love listen. Doesn't matter to me. I appreciate it all, and you know what I also appreciate? You guys could be doing anything with your time, but you spent it with us. We appreciate it. Please, Rams, new uniforms. Thank you. We're out.